Tradesmen built America. Not policymakers or desk jockeys, but hardworking, blue-collared men and women. Join me, Roger Wakefield, on conversations with some of the nation's most successful skilled laborers. This is the Trade Talks. So, in a month, or about a month, I'm going to be on one of your stages. Mm-hmm. You're doing a big conference for plumbers and HVAC technicians, mm-hmm. and I get to come speak at it.
Yeah, it's PHCC Connect 2024 in Birmingham, Alabama, and I think it's probably the premier plumbing and HVAC event in our industry. It's bringing all the industry leaders together, manufacturers, spending a few days in the lovely city of Birmingham. If you've ever been there, it's a lot of fun. It's a great city.
Be my first time.
Is it really?
Oh, yeah.
I think it's a wonderful city. I've been there before. Really great opportunity for contractors to come, learn, connect, network, and really just learn from industry leaders. Our Expo is one of the best, I think, expos in the industry. It's unique in the sense that we'll have an innovation platform, an area where folks can see new products. And what makes our Expo unique, which is on Wednesday, October 9th, is that for that 4 hours, it's free to register to come. If you're a contractor in that Birmingham region, if you want to travel over, it's a free expo. You just got to come register at phccweb.org. It's like I said, it's going to be some of the best opportunities to learn about the plumbing and HVAC industry around. And I think it's a wonderful opportunity, and it's free to come. Now, if you want to enhance your learning, networking, come to hear good speakers like yourself. We've got some great keynote speakers that are coming. Mary Kelly, who's a former Navy commander, is going to be talking about leadership. And I've heard her before, and she's a powerful speaker. Jeff Butler, who also is another one of our workforce speakers, he's going to be speaking at our workforce breakfast. He actually talks about a new generation of workforce. And I've actually had an opportunity to hear him speak before, and he takes these topics that are uncomfortable as an owner or a business owner and hiring employees, what it's like to work in generational workforces from older folks to younger folks. How do they work together? He talks about the political dynamics. You have folks that are conservative to liberal, and he makes it fun and engaging. So the event itself is just a lot of fun. It's a great opportunity to come. And like I said, if they have more to learn more, come to phccweb.org about Connect 2024. I think I'm looking forward to it. It's great. We also have an apprentice competition for plumbing and HVAC that is a lot of fun to see.
Okay, the first time I ever went to Connect was in Milwaukee, and it was really neat because I was there with a marketing guy, and he had a booth that I'm like, man, this is in the back corner. Nobody's going to see us. Mm-hmm. But right across the hallway from us was the apprentice competition. Yeah. And it literally blew my mind. I'm watching this competition going, and I'm like, man, I wish I had known there was something like that when I was coming up through the trades, which later joining the union, I found out they've got a competition. Yep. Y'all have got a competition. SkillsUSA has a competition where all those come together. Yeah. It's really interesting, but it blew my mind, the skill level of these apprentices. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking, wait, these are apprentices? And I know they're outperforming some journeymen that I've seen. So it was really neat to get to see that. So to me, that's one of my favorite things, is getting to come see the apprentice competition.
Yeah. The first time I saw it was last year. I was blown away. I mean, I couldn't believe how fast. I mean, they're putting together a full bathroom and they're testing it. And we have folks that are competing that are union, non-union. It brings together a lot of the real competitors from across the country. And we've got folks from a number of states that are competing. We get some of the union participants as well. And it's fun to watch. It really is. And it's over. They do it over a 3-day period. One of the things we're doing unique this year, which was something new, is we're having a pep rally.
Right. Yep.
And we're actually bringing one of the football, who does the football broadcasting and announcing, to come and do it as well. It's going to be a DJ that's going to be blasting music, and it's going to be something different and exciting. And that's on the Tuesday before, but it's going to be a lot of fun. And I think the apprentices will appreciate it. They're great. They're great kids. And I love meeting them. They're hungry. They want to learn and they want to win. And that's the fun part.
So where do all these apprentices come from?
We have a few representatives from unions, the UA, and then we also they're coming from our PHCC state chapter competitions. So they have to win in their states. It's not like we just randomly pick them. Many of our state PHCC chapters will send their winner from their state conventions over to our competition. And that's where we make up our pool of competitors.
How many competitors do you have this year? Do you have any idea?
We usually cap it out about 20, more because it's
20 in each trade.
20 just for plumbing, and then usually HVAC gets about 10 or 12, just because of the size and spacing of where we're at. And then on the HVAC side, I mean, they're really working on equipment and like full HVAC machinery that's there to be testing. So that's what kind of makes it unique as well too. I think it's one of the best competitions out there. It's fun and it's exciting to watch. And I've actually had an opportunity to sit there and watch and talk to folks that are watching as well. And, I had one person say, well, that's my husband competed on that one a few years ago. Isn't it? And one of our current board members actually had won a few years back, and he's from Wisconsin, and he competed and won. And now he sits on the PHCC board of directors.
It's really funny because the first SkillsUSA I went to, I was invited by Michael Carrillo from Belton High School in Texas. And it blew my mind.
Yeah.
And I was just like, okay, this is crazy because it's, and remember, we're talking SkillsUSA. I'm in the construction area, plumbing, electrical, HVAC, teams building like a quarter of a house or an eighth of a house, something like that. There's carpentry, there's roofing, there's welding, there's more welding, there's welding art. There's just so many different things. Yeah. And I'm in one part of a conference hall and we move over to another one. Then it's computers, computer design, websites, nursing, heavy equipment operators. One of the things that they had, like they take a bowling ball and put it up on a cone.
Yeah.
And you've got a backhoe and you reach out and you pick this ball up with the bucket, move it over and set it down on another cone. And it's like, man, these are high school kids. Some of them college because that they do have that level. Yeah. But it was neat because I got to go back this year, and Belton, the team that Michael Carrillo had me seed last year, won this year. So they're going to World now.
Yeah.
And then we've got a plumber that is headed to World.
Yes, he is.
For SkillsUSA.
Yep.
Tell me a little bit about him.
Yeah, this, is what's been fascinating about it is, so about, I guess, the last year, we had an opportunity to talk to some of our industry partners, IAPMO, the UA, and PHCC, both the association and the foundation, and a couple of our manufacturing partners. And we looked at, where the U.S. standing was at this WorldSkills competition, which brings together about 20 or so countries, and they compete at multiple trades. This year's competition's in Lyon, France in early September. And we said, the U.S. has been placing near the bottom. I mean, the joke I always tell people is that we were losing to countries that barely had working plumbing. Right. So how is that even happening? And so we said, why don't we put a collective effort, to really support this potential student to really compete? Let's get him trained. And we found a great young kid, Brady Kroll, he's from Minnesota, but he lives outside.
And what's his name again?
Brady Kroll. Yeah. Okay. And he's a young kid. He's in his early 20s, put himself through plumbing school and, paid for it, competed on the skills side, SkillsUSA competition. And then he, just thought his life was just going to start working in plumbing. And then SkillsUSA reached out to him, said, hey, you're the designee. You're the one, if you want to go compete in Lyon, France in September. Kid's probably thinking, I don't know what I'm going to do. Sure, I'll do it.
Right.
What we did is we reached out to him, worked with his, how to get him trained. Collectively, all the organizations chipped in financially. We're providing training and education for him. He's been getting months in training. The one thing that PHCC that I'm proud of is we brought him out to our state competitions to let him learn how to compete on against other competitors, and he did very well. And the one thing I love the most is that we brought him out to our legislative conference in May to meet his representatives, and he had an opportunity to meet his senator, Senator Smith of Minnesota. And I just love watching them talk to each other. Cool. And it was so much fun. And you could see in his face that this meant a lot for him, you know, to go and do this. And, you know, this is, I see this as this kid is an embodiment of the industry, what we're trying to achieve, getting young people into the trades, that it's fun, it's cool, it's hard work, but it's fulfilling. I think he symbolizes that. And I think a lot of young people are like him. And I can't wait for see how he does in France. And look, he does the best he can. He's going against some hard-nosed competitors.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, the joke is, I think it's every other year. So the last kid that won is from South Korea. And apparently my understanding is that he got like $100,000 prize. He was trained all year by his government. He ended up getting a job from some major manufacturer. I think he got all these gifts and prizes. I mean, it was pretty excessive. And you're thinking, here's the US. It's like, you know, here's a book. We'll see you, you know, you'll get 3 days of training. Good luck. That's it.
Absolutely.
You know, it's just like the Olympics, you know, if you don't train them, they're not going to win. The kid's not going to really suddenly show up. So, you know, really grateful for the participation of the UA and IAPMO and some of our industry partners that really helped us out. Milwaukee Tools and a few others. A.O. Smith provided equipment to actually help train them. And quite a few others. So I'm proud of however he does in September. I'm still proud of how he did.
Right, and that's just a week or two away. That he's
it's
doing
coming.
That.
Yeah, he's already packing really up.
Quick.
I think I think it's like September 10th, the exact date, but he'll be gone. And it's a very unique setup because he's almost sequestered for 4 days with his trainer, 4 to 5 days with just his representative, and that's it. I mean, he's on his own. And it's a pretty tough competition. So,
you know, I've been to the union, the national competition, the UA. They do at the instructor training program, and I was lucky enough to get to go to that, but then get to go watch. And we had a student, one of my students, Ricky Young, that actually won the competition at the school. Then the state competition, then the regional competition. Yeah. So he got to go to compete at the instructor training program. And it was really neat because they have like 6 plumbers, 6 plumbers, 6 HVAC techs, 6 welders, 6 pipe fitters. They've got a broad group of people. Yeah. And it's neat because they have one from each region. And, you know, to get to be there and see them compete like that, because them it's the same way. It's like a 3-day competition. Yeah. And literally you don't get to hang out with the instructors. You've got your hotel room. You've got your person who's over all 6 of these people that it's almost like being in jail, I guess. Once they check you into your hotel room, it's he's out in the hallway making sure nobody leaves. And it's just, it's kind of crazy. But to get to see the competition at that level is phenomenal. Yeah. And you know, you look at the tools that they're given, the clothes that they're given. Yeah. I mean, you know, Wrangler supplies them with the custom rugged wear jeans, boots, tools. I mean, just uniform, everything. It looks so cool. Yeah. And to get to be a part of that, helping a student get to that level or being part of this training, getting to that level is just, it's really, it's a neat thing.
It's fun to watch. I mean, to me, it's amazing. And it's just the competitiveness of it. It's a serious competition. And, you know, and I respect the kids that are doing it. It's their version of the Olympics.
Oh yeah.
You know,
it's a big deal.
Yeah. So
take just a second. Tell everybody who you are and what you do.
Sure. I'm Dan Quinonez. I am the executive director of the PHCC Educational Foundation. The Educational Foundation is charged with the training and education of the future workforce in plumbing and HVAC. It's an organization that has been around for about 30 years, but primarily what we've been doing over the last 10 years or so is providing scholarships to young apprentices that want to go into the industry. And I think we've given out just in the last 10 years or so, over about 500 scholarships, totaling probably about $1.1 million. And I think it's one of the best scholarship programs for folks who want to get into the industry. And I'm very proud of it. This past year, I think we've given out about 55 scholarships. And what made it unique is it's a very diverse group of scholarship recipients. We have a couple military veterans that have received it. There's a Latino scholarship that's part of it as well. And I think it really represents the industry. And I'm very proud of it because I get to hear the stories.
Oh, yeah.
And the thank you notes and the videos, the diversity that comes from it. So that's 55 new apprentices that are going to be coming into the future workforce. So I'm very proud of how that shapes out. And it's nice to be part of that. But the PHCC Foundation also has an academy, and our academy is the premier online training program for apprenticeships as well. We do apprenticeships that's pre-apprentice, which is a course that folks can take, decide if they want to get in the industry. And we get into the nitty gritty, like, you know what it's like to get, it's not going to be, just sitting at a desk. We get into the details, and that's a course anyone can take for $29 to kind of see if they want to go forward. And then after they're done, they can kind of say, okay, I want to do this. Then they can move into the apprenticeship program. And that depends on their state. The opportunities are there. They could be a member of PHCC, working for a PHCC member, or a non-member. And I guess it varies on each state. But to go through it, I'll use an example in New Jersey. You can go work for a PHCC plumber or a plumbing contractor or an HVAC company and take the course, and it helps you work, you're getting paid, and you're earning your hours towards your license. And at the same time, you're taking your online program, and that eventually, after you reach your certain goal of, passing the courses, then you go sit for your exams and you become a licensed journeyman.
This video is sponsored by High Level. For your 30-day free trial, go to gohighlevel.com/Roger Wakefield. So I'll tell you a neat story. I met a guy that had a plumbing company here in Plano. I was in Richardson, and somehow we ended up talking, and he came over to my office one day. He ended up buying I'd upgraded some tools, and he bought some tools I had and whatnot. And it was really neat because he's telling me, he said, he went through PHCC, went through their training program. And I said, man, that's great, because he was really good at gas, tankless water heaters. To do a gas load calculation chart, it was something he could do in his sleep. But it was really funny because I talked to him. I said, so who'd you work for? How'd you go into PHCC? And he kind of laughed. He said, can I tell you my story? I said, sure. He said, I contacted PHCC and I knew I wanted to go through PHCC because everybody in Texas, listen to this. It's a DOL trained program, DOL approved training program.
Yep.
And what that means is if an apprentice in Texas goes through a DOL approved training program for their apprenticeship, their first 4 years, after they get their journeyman, they can go take their master's 1 year later. Well, he wanted to do that. So he literally goes down and he talks to PHCC at the training center, and he wants to sign up. And I said, they're like, well, you're not you don't work for a member company. He says, well, I'm starting my own company. And I think he had a master that he had hired, that they were pulling permits and they're doing the work together and all this. So he was learning and working and all the above. And they said, well, you can't sign up if you're not a signatory contractor. She says, well, what's it cost to sign up? So they told him what it cost to sign up. He says, like, I'll sign up, then I'll come down and go to school. And then 4 years later, when I go take my test, then I'm eligible for my master's a year later. And I had never heard of that. And I'm like, that is somebody that knows, look, this is what I want, and I'm willing to do what it takes to get here. And I just thought that was phenomenal. Somebody who understands so much exactly what they want. Here's how I'm going to go about getting there. And said the training was phenomenal. He loved it. To see what he does with gas load calculation charts blew my mind. And I thought I was good at them. But when I watch him, it's like putting together a little push to connect model, and boom, it's done.
The Academy, I'll tell you, I came on board PHCC Academy originally. it was the old school textbooks. They would mail them, and then, there was the old fashioned way of doing it. And, I think it was relatively small at the time. And about 5-6 years ago, they decided we're going to change this and make it an online program, and, make sure it's DOE certified, and make sure it follows all the paths of the correct way of doing things in training. And the person who designed it, I mean, she did a phenomenal job of making sure this program was effective and it works and it connects well with that type of contractor who wants to learn. And the program itself over the last 5 years for PHCC Academy has exploded. And I mean, I think in a couple, like I said, 5-6 years ago, it was maybe a couple hundred people. We have like over 10,000 registered users. I mean, and this is all just through PHCC, working with our state chapters. It's been amazing, and it's a great program. And what it does is it really helps to get you trained in an effective way, not just here's an online program, just, take a couple tests, you're done. No, it really does work with you. It makes sure that you're getting the training necessary. We have a very high retention rate. I think it's in the high 90s. Last I checked, maybe about 93, 94% of folks are staying.
From people that come in from the very beginning, staying all the way
staying through that program.
Wow.
What we also find, which is interesting.
Because when I was in the UA, the retention rate was about 40 to 50%.
Exactly. And the interesting part about this is that we have a couple states where we do a fast track program. So let's say that person has already been working for a contractor for a couple of years.
You bet.
And if they're tracking those hours, well, then
start
you can
them at a level 3 or a level 4.
Exactly. You can submit and do the fast track program, get your license a lot faster that way. And the cost of the program in comparison averages about $2,000. When you look at other programs, it's a far more better price. And here's the kicker. You can then go to the PHCC Foundation and apply for a scholarship, right. And your employer can then get the scholarship and pay for you for free. So you're basically earning and going for free.
So it's about $2,000 for the entire 5-year program?
No,
or
per year.
Okay.
Per year. And depending on the requirements of the state, if it's 4 to 5 years, but it'll be about $2,000 per year. But here's the thing, the scholarship doesn't end. I mean, you can still keep going. And what it does is, we have it set up so whether you're going through a college program, or you're going through an employer, a PHCC employer, that's reimbursing them to go train you. So you're earning, you're working.
You bet.
And getting basically free education. So
now that's great for people coming in.
Mm-hmm.
What about companies that have plumbers or HVAC techs that have never learned anything since the day they got their license?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they've gone to continuing education because some states require that. But what kind of training do you have for advanced people? They're not apprentices, they're journeymen. They're foremen, they're superintendents. They're people wanting to move up and learn and grow.
So starting, but this past year, I think we started in January, we announced a new plan. So the PHCC Academy has taken over the education for the association, and we're redesigning it, revamping it, making it something that has meaning and purpose for post-apprentice courses and trainees. What we did is take a look at it and say, holistically, you're starting as a pre-apprentice, come to PHCC Academy Foundation. You go to your pre-apprentice course, you take your apprenticeship course. We didn't have anything really, very little post.
Right.
We're changing that now. Now we're looking at the life cycle of a contractor and saying, after they graduate, what is available to them? And we're going to design courses based on that, all the way to the point where they're a business owner, even to the point where they're getting ready to sell. And there's the opportunity there. So we're preparing to launch a few new courses. I think we have one that's about ready to go. It's a business finance course. We're doing looking at project management, leadership courses, PMPs. We're going to be looking at it holistically, talking to our state chapters. What are they hearing on the ground? What do they need? What are some of the soft skills training? What can we offer them? Now, PHCC also has a coaching program, QSC. QSC is if you're a small shop and you really you need that extra coaching for your business.
It's the elite level.
It is.
So
it is.
I had a union mentor, and it was great. Robert Melko out of Chicago. He was union. He was also PHCC.
Yeah.
He's the first person that introduced me to y'all's calculator. and which is an amazing tool you get if you're a member. I may have a copy of it somewhere that he may have given me, but I won't tell anybody. Yeah. Anybody listening, y'all weren't supposed to hear that. But the funny thing is, I looked at it and the way I've got it set up, it is so good because it makes you think, hey, this is Bob. Here's what Bob makes. Here's Bob's benefits. Here's the vacation time he gets. Here's the holidays he gets. And it teaches you how to think about all this when you're putting your price together.
Yeah.
When you're putting everything together. And the tools that I saw, and look, Robert Melko is great to get to see him because the union here in Dallas was talking about going into residential. I was already residential. I guess they didn't realize they already were in it, but anyway, Melko came down and talked, and it was so good. And him and I met later. And the first time I met Robert was at the PHCC conference in Milwaukee. And it was really neat because I had seen him, I'd heard of him. I had already told my local union, I want to learn from this guy. Yeah. And I mean, up until the day he passed away, I could call him and say, Bob, look, I got a problem. I got a question. And he's like, well, let me pull over. Let's talk. Yeah. And I'm like, no, I'll call you later. He's like, oh, no. Let's go ahead and talk. And he loved talking what we do, plumbing. And it was so neat because he's like, Roger, look, the union hates that I talk about PHCC the way I do because I love things that they've got that the union doesn't have. He says, and there's probably people in PHCC that hate that I'm in the union, and I love the things that they do both ways. Yeah. And I think there's a great symbiotic relationship there. Yeah. But before he passed away, it was so good to get to talk to him and learn from him and learn about QSC and things like that. Because he is literally, that day, he's literally like, if you're not in QSC and you're not learning how to do what you do better, you might as well just kick the bucket now. Yeah. Because you need to be in here learning.
And that coaching is incredibly powerful to our PHCC members who participate in that. I mean, it is a great program, and it goes holistically with the entire PHCC in terms of education through the academy and what we're doing in helping young apprentices, and then going post-apprentice, the QSC, and then collectively it comes back to our Connect event. There's so much as a young plumbing business owner that you would be crazy not to want to come and participate. The networking, the education, the connections that you make, and overall just having a fun time. That's what we want. We want you to come and really grow from it. Because once you leave, you want to be excited to say, I'm going to apply these things to my business. Right. I mean, that's what I want to do. Absolutely. And that's what we do at PHCC and the foundation and the academy very well. It's growing that. I joke because I say the organization's, I think, about 135 years old. I mean, imagine how old. I mean, that's insanity when I think about how old that is. The joke is PHCC, those plumbers, they were the first environmentalists. They were talking about clean water in the 1920s. Like, wait, what? It's always been a very family type organization over the years. But what's happened is the industry is evolving. It's not like that anymore. Yeah. Yes, it's changed. It's not it's either you'll either adapt or die. The workforce has changed. You're not getting your kids that want to take over. They don't,
So what are y'all doing to adapt? How's PHCC changing?
First off, I mean, the biggest thing is the education. Okay. And through our academy, it's, taking the online training to new heights, and both with apprenticeship and post-apprentice. We're launching a couple new programs. I was saying before is, on project management, leadership, creating cohorts so folks can join together to
all
learn.
The way up to exit,
all the way to the exit. And we have that. We have, for example, at this year Connect, Federated runs a program on this, on, selling your, looking at the future of your business. So we work with our manufacturers too, that also provide extra training and courses as well. But all these different levels of courses that are going to be coming out, it's really going to help your company succeed, or you as an apprentice itself, or as a contractor. So like I said, it goes back to the life cycle from the beginning, when you're a little pup, all the way to you're ready for your retirement.
Mm-hmm.
PHCC is going to be there across the board. And that's what makes it exciting. That's where the change is happening. The other part I'm very proud to really look at is we are focusing on workforce development. You mentioned SkillsUSA. SkillsUSA, the total number of, and this comes from someone that works at SkillsUSA, they get about 390,000 high school students or people that are participating at 110 different trades. And I look at it as when I went to that competition in Atlanta in June, it doesn't matter. If you're in culinary arts, you could be competing there. You walk down the hall and you see plumbing and go, I want to do that.
Absolutely.
I want to do
I'm
HVAC.
walking around. I wanted to fly the drones.
Yeah, exactly.
And they had the little drone deals. And I'm like, why is this a competition? Like,
yeah.
Do y'all know how many people hire drone pilots every single day? And it's like,
amazing.
It blew my mind.
Oh my gosh. And
go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say that, but that demonstrates that these kids are not beholden to one skill because you're there.
You bet.
So that's 390,000 potential future plumbers and HVAC technicians. So that's a lot of people that you could target from. And that's kind of where our workforce development plan for the future is coming. Because to them, once we get them out of being an apprentice and they graduate, we want them to eventually become PHCC members. And then from there, if they're a member, when they're near retirement, they want to sell their business. Ultimately, we want them to give to our foundation and pay for the next workforce that's going to come through. And that's how PHCC and both the association and the foundation was set up. I always like to tell this little story. The PHCC Foundation, back in the mid-'80s, it was founded by contractors. And they raised about $1 million. Now, this is the 1980s, almost $1 million. And then they went to some manufacturers who donated even more money, like Kohler, Milwaukee, and a whole bunch of other ones, and created that foundation. And that's what the spirit of the foundation was all about, was to build upon that training, get the future workforces together. And that's what makes it exciting. To me, it's fun to see that happening now and what we're building out. That's going to impact PHCC's membership in the future.
I love that.
Yeah.
This video is sponsored by High Level. We've partnered up with High Level because we believe this is the best all-in-one sales and marketing platform to help you grow your business. For your 30-day free trial, go to gohighlevel.com/Roger Wakefield. So Connect is coming up.
Mm-hmm.
What is the purpose of Connect other than the networking,
mm-hmm.
the little bit of training, or a lot of bit of training?
Yeah.
The Expo Hall,
mm-hmm.
which I love because I get to have a booth in.
Yeah,
and I get
to that.
I get to interview people coming by, so definitely worth coming out
mm-hmm.
for. I get to speak at it this year.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody's listening right now, and first of all, if somebody's listening and they're a contractor,
mm-hmm.
they don't want to fly to Birmingham to go just for the Expo,
mm-hmm.
4 hours, 5 hours, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It would be smart to come in and sit down and learn something.
Yeah.
So that they become signatory contractors. They sign up either at their local area or
mm-hmm.
national.
Mm-hmm.
Or sign up either way.
You sign up through our phccweb.org. Go to Connect, go on our website, register through Connect. You have the option of just going free to the Expo, but if you also want to look at what other opportunities are there, there's a number of events. I think we have about 18 courses, classes that you can take while there from some of the premier speakers in the industry. We have a great, as I said before, a great keynote speaker, a great workforce speaker. There's an opportunity to learn, connect, and grow. One of the little things that we're working on now that I'm excited about is working with some of our manufacturers. They're also going to try to do a sales for tools as well. If there's an opportunity to go through there with some of our industry partners, we'll actually sell products at a discount if you attend. So there's opportunities.
And I've seen that. I think that's a great idea.
You pick up some free, I wouldn't say free, but you pick up some tools and at a discounted price, and they work with some of their supply houses to make sure that happens. So I'm excited. That's going to be somewhat unique to the Connect Expo as well. But overall, it's really getting a feeling of you're a plumbing HVAC contractor. You belong to something. You belong to a great organization. You belong to an organization that's looking out for the next 50 years. I mean, yeah, we're 135 years old, but what's going to happen over the next 20 to 30 years? We're looking forward. We're being progressive on your behalf because we want to make sure that you're ready for what's coming down the pike. And we've both seen the technology is adapting quickly on all levels. I mean, the equipment is changing constantly. The laws, the local ordinances, the codes, the training, everything is changing and evolving quickly. And if you're not up to date on that, you're going to fall behind. And why would you want that? You want to be the best in your business as possible. And you have an opportunity to learn and share from other contractors across the country and get what they get. And some of them are able to do that, and they build lifelong friendships over the years, and they look forward to seeing each other at Connect every year that they come.
You know, I think the networking to me has always been the best part. I literally, and I've been to trade shows extensively over the last probably 3 or 4 years, probably 5 to 7 years, looking back at the best practice groups I was involved with and the expos that they put on. The networking, sitting down next to somebody who's either been where you are at and they've moved on and grown, or sitting next to someone that is trying to get to where you're at because they're trying to grow. Those are great relationships and great partnerships to make and get to know each other and talk to each other and stuff like that. How's the networking at Connect? Because I know it's a big part of it.
I think it's phenomenal. I think it's one of the best things about it, and get to know people from across the country. And you know, you get I know, I mean, in my, the few that I've been, this is my second one, I'm going into my second one. The first one was amazing. I got to meet contractors from all across the U.S.
You bet.
I get to hear what's going on in California. And it's very different what goes on in California, New York to New Jersey. I mean, and Florida. I mean, and you get to understand what they're going through. And then they share stories. And then they kind of understand, like, you know, oh, okay, I didn't realize that you could do that. Oh, I didn't know that either. And that's where the networking is so important. And if you have an opportunity to go to all of Connect, not just the Expo, but you get to hear these stories. And what PHCC is unique in the sense, we have union, non-union. We're both, we welcome everyone. And I think that's what's very unique. We're very unique to that in the industry as a whole. And we get to hear stories from both sides. If you're a signatory, if you're an open shop, I mean, it's you get to hear that relation. I mean, you get to hear, you know, also the other thing on that networking is, you know, like, well, what product are you using? Is that working for you? And that's where I actually pick up the most stories of, you know, I use this product. This product works better than that one. I didn't think about that. And it's, you know, then they take that back home and now they're applying it to their business.
I teach tradespeople every day. If you want to be in the top 5% of your industry, get up every morning for 30 minutes to an hour and study your trade. And what I mean by that is there's new tools, materials, equipment, new techniques coming out every day. You can go to a conference like this and speed up your learning. Because just walking through the expo hall and seeing what all vendors are set up, what new products they have, what is coming out. I've learned more about cure-in-place plastic piping than I had ever learned before. And you walk through and you see all these demonstrations and they're showing it to you. So you're like, wow, now I at least know how to do it. And even if my company's not doing it, it's like, hey guys, look, there's another option here that we could look at. And me being a plumber going to these conferences, learning all that information and coming back, it makes me a better plumber. Because I'm seeing things that a lot of other plumbers don't even see.
And an amazing part of, I've actually had an opportunity at both Connect, and I, you know, in my position, I get to go and travel to some of the plants and see some of the companies, and you see the technology that's out there. It's amazing.
You bet.
And the price points are coming down where you're going to see these in homes more often or not. The technology with HVAC, I mean, now you can control your air conditioner, you know, your HVAC unit with an app.
Oh yeah, I've got it on my phone. And actually used it the other day. I'm out of town. I'm like, wait, I can turn my thermostat up. So I crank it up.
I know when my wife is turning up the AC, I'm like, they're going to bring that back down. I get an alert.
Well, when I say turn it up, make it where it doesn't kick on as much. I normally keep mine around 70. So I'm out of town. I'm like, you know, I'm going to turn it up to 75. I don't need it.
It's amazing.
Then right before, well, actually on a connecting flight, I'm in Chicago. get on the app and turn it back down. By the time I walk in the house, it feels fine.
Exactly. The technology is adapting. And it's, the rules are changing too. And that's the one thing that, obviously we talk about the changing of the refrigerants. I mean, if you're not on top of that as a contractor,
you're going to be up the creek.
You're up the creek.
Yeah.
Exactly. And, the thing about which is tough is that we look at regulators in, Washington, D.C. and state capitals, they're talking about making changes. And by the time it gets to the contractor, it's usually 10 years down the line. And it's like, okay, I didn't know all this was coming down. Well, it was starting 10 years ago. They just never told you.
Right.
And so it's the job of places like PHCC to educate the guy. If you're part of PHCC, you're going to get alerted, whether you're state chapter, which is a great chapter in Texas here, or a PHCC chapter in some across the country. They're alerting you of what's going on. And that's the special part I think about PHCC. We're a bottom-up association. We have our state chapters, our local chapters. That's where the membership grows. And National's job is to encourage that growth and support them through our foundation, through our academy, through our association events. Connect brings them all together. And that's what I find is so wonderful and unique about our event. It really is special in that sense. And you can feel that when you're there.
This video is sponsored by High Level. For your 30-day free trial, go to gohighlevel.com/Roger Wakefield. It's funny talking about that because when the plumbers in Texas were fighting for their license, that's when I met Hunter Botto. But also in all the fighting up to that, we'd go down, and I say fighting, going down and politely communicating with our Congress people that this isn't the crap that we want. I met Alicia Dover, and she was head of PHCC Texas at the time. Amazing person.
Yeah.
And to get to talk to her on, a level like that, we're down here for the same cause.
Yeah.
I'm a plumber in Dallas. She's PHCC director down in Buda, Texas. And we became friends. And I mean, it's like, hey, how's everything going?
Yeah.
And it was so wonderful to build that relationship. Yeah. But really, that's the first time I had seen PHCC in the field. I'm going to say working, doing what it is y'all do each and every day. And most plumbers don't even know that, and I hate to tell y'all this, that there's politics in plumbing.
Yeah.
It's rough.
Yeah.
But most plumbers don't have anybody down there directly looking out for our best interest. But that's something that PHCC does for the entire plumbing and air conditioning industry.
And that's like I said before, that's the uniqueness of PHCC, and it's our local state chapters. If you're a contractor, you're not joining your PHCC, Texas has got a great program, a lot of regional chapters here. I've talked to many of those folks here, great people. Their heart and soul is in protecting the contractor. And if you have an opportunity, go to phcc.web.org, find your state chapter, find a local chapter, join it. I mean, it's a nominal cost,
What's it cost?
There's a national fee. I mean, national's about a little over $500, and there's a local state chapter fee. But when you think about the price, I mean, at the end of the day, you're connecting to a group of contractors who are there with the same idea in mind to boost our business, support what you're doing, protect the contractors, get you into training and networking, education. There's so much there that's an opportunity for a contractor to get into.
So, and I'm asking for a reason.
Sure.
About what's it cost a contractor per year to be in PHCC?
It could vary on the state. So, I mean, I know the national is I think it's about 500, a little over 550. Okay. But there is a fee for the state and local chapter, and it varies based on the states. So that's why it's best to go on the website and give an exact. It would probably like say about $1,000, maybe $1,200.
Okay, so 17 under $2,000, right there. Okay,
yes, I would definitely say that.
I remember joining a best practice group that was $20,000 to sign up, and then I want to say it was another $3,000 a year, something like that. And I'm like, wait a minute, if I can come in and learn from people, have education available, and I'm sure it costs more to send the apprentices through it.
Yeah.
It costs more for different things and the classes and whatnot. But to have access to that, because, oh, by the way, they also wanted to charge you another $100 and something a month if you wanted access to all the online classes. So there was a lot of cost to it.
Yeah.
And PHCC is like pennies on the dollar.
Oh, it's far less. The return on investment for your business is so much more better for your bottom line. And what makes PHCC special, I think, in this sense, is that if you're an owner, you know, there are a lot of organizations out there. There's a lot of for-profits that, you know, are 10,
trust
15.
me, they're
for a lot,
profit.
and they're for profit.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, they put on some great shows and great programs and stuff.
And their expos are phenomenal too.
Yeah. I mean, you're paying a lot of money for it.
You bet.
They're not cheap.
I've heard some of the biggest speakers in the nation.
Exactly.
At these events.
I mean, there's some that are bringing like celebrities.
Oh, absolutely.
And, you know, but then you think to yourself, like, well, if I'm going to spend $8,000 to go to that conference, I'm going to get the same thing for PHCC for far less.
Yeah.
And I'm going to network with folks in my community in this region. And, you know, states like Texas and Jersey, New York, they have some of the best programs. And that's how some of our actually members come into the leadership at some point. They're actually mentored or friended someone else that was a PHCC member.
That's cool.
And it's usually, I always find that folks kind of start to rally around an organization when there's something bad on the horizon. The refrigerant issue here was a big one. And I think that brought a lot of people on board.
Well, and
electrification's another one where it's bringing people in certain areas together.
And plumbers fighting for their license.
Yes,
I mean, literally,
absolutely.
We had horrible representatives stand up on the floor and say, look, we just don't need a license in Texas anymore. Everybody's a plumber now.
It's crazy.
He says, I just solved the problem.
Yeah.
No, you just killed half of Texas. You just don't know it yet. And luckily, Governor Abbott stepped up and said, no, Chris Patty, I'm going to pass an executive order and we're going to do this. But, I mean, people don't understand a lot of times the fights that we go through to keep a license to help protect the citizens of the state. It's not to protect the plumber. Yeah. It's to protect the citizens of the state, to make sure that they're getting taken care of by people that don't install cross connections, that don't just come out and do shady plumbing like, you know, some companies out in California are doing different stuff like that. But there's a lot of stuff going on that most plumbers out in the field, out in the truck every day don't even see.
You know, it's funny you say that too, because I mean, we look at, you know, licensing and, you know, one of the areas like, you know, PHCC, the Academy has been very successful with plumbing apprenticeships, and especially in states that have required licensing. And they're doing very well, those apprentices. They're well trained, they're experts in their field eventually, and then they're getting out there and becoming very successful. States that don't have licensing, there's more of a struggle.
Right.
You know, and I would say this is the consumer, and this is some of the things we look at PHCC as the consumer. If I'm about to spend $5,000, who do I want doing that work?
Yeah.
You want somebody who's going to go in and do it wrong? I've experienced that in Northern Virginia where we had someone, I don't think he had a license before me. They installed something so bad that I had to actually get a PHCC member to come in and redo the whole thing.
Should have called them first, just so you know.
Well, it was exactly. I trusted my realtor in that. It was before. But the interesting part, we spent $6,000. And if we had done the original PHCC member first, the professional, the license expert, it would have been half that cost.
Well, you know, people used to ask me that, believe it or not, I get reached out to a lot, people asking questions.
Yeah.
And somebody reached out to me back when we were fighting for our license, because we went through a phase where it's like, okay, the plumbing license is going to go away on this date. And I'd have people reach out to me and say, so are you going to lower your prices? I said, no, I'm raising my prices.
Yeah.
And they said, why are you going to do that? So because if everybody out there is now a licensed plumber, they're going to be cheap.
Yeah.
And they're not going to be good. And I'm going to market myself as, look, I do plumbing the right way. I don't care if there's a license or not.
Yeah.
I know right from wrong. A lot of these new people don't.
Yeah.
And I told them, I said, I'm literally going to raise my prices. They said, you're going to go out of business. I said, oh, no.
No.
This is where I'm going to grow.
It's a relationship. And, you know, that's the one other area too. If at being a Connect, you'll see more in the networking. You know, I've had an opportunity to work with some of our, I call them the grand poobahs of plumbing. They've had their business for 30, 40 years. One of the things that makes them unique is their customers have been with them for years, decades. They have some of them, they don't know what they're going to do when that person retires. They're scared. They're like,
I've got customers that still reach out to me from jobs
20, 30 years ago.
Yes.
And they're still coming back.
Yep.
And they're eventually going to sell their businesses. They want to sell their business to someone who knows what they're doing, that's licensed, that's a PHCC member, involved. And that's where the networking and the connection, true connectivity, that's what I kind of like to see it happening. And we see that kind of happening. And, you know, the one area I've encouraged PHCC to always look at too is don't forget the customer, the consumer.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah. Ultimately, in most situations, an HVAC unit dies. Now you got to get somebody in. It's 100 degrees. You know, do you want a licensed or unlicensed person coming in? Do you want a reputable company or just somebody that's going to throw a box with some, you know, refrigerant in there?
They're going to stick a squirrel in a cage and let him run. And when the ice melts, you're over.
Exactly. Yeah. You're spending $10,000, $20,000 and you're in a vulnerable point. When your pipe breaks or your hot water tank gives out, you know, you're in a vulnerable point as a consumer. So you're willing to do whatever it takes to fix it. You don't get into, well, is this code or is it? No, you don't look at that, you know, or can I fix this myself? Well, YouTube doesn't tell me how to do this.
Or should this be inspected or permitted or?
Yeah, there's so much that goes along with it. So why not go to a reputable company that's a PHCC member who really knows what they're doing, who's well-trained, who's going to give you an honest, you know, real cost and what it needs to get fixed. And then there you have and for a PHCC member, now you have a customer for life.
You bet.
Because now you fixed their house and it's okay. Now, and that's what I see when you come out and meet our members, the ones that have been there for years. They have long time standing relationships that go beyond decades. And, you know, and what's nice is that many of those that are near retirement of our members that are selling their business, they're turning around and they're donating to the foundation.
Right.
Large sums of money, which eventually gets translated into scholarships to new apprentices down the line.
That's cool.
So, and that's really and you see the stories of it. And I love seeing it. It's a lot of fun. So
take just a second again and tell everybody who you are and what you do.
Sure. Dan Quinonez. I'm the PHCC Executive Director, PHCC Educational Foundation Executive Director. The foundation is charged with the training and education of the future workforce of the industry. And it's a wonderful opportunity program that's developed to kind of provide scholarships for young apprentices. We also do a number of other educational programs. We also have an academy that provides pre-apprentice and apprenticeships. And that's a program that I think has been very successful, and it's a wonderful program. And I'm looking forward to seeing how it grows.
Cool stuff.
Yeah.
Now, I'm speaking at Connect.
Sure.
In a little over a month, about a month, September the 9th, in Birmingham, Alabama.
October
the 9th. Yeah. October. Yeah. September 9th to be really quick.
Yeah.
October the 9th, which is neat. I will be celebrating my birthday in Alabama.
Oh, okay. Well,
first time for everything.
Yes.
The cool thing about it though is, to get to come to a conference like this and speak and meet people, to me, is just phenomenal.
Yeah.
Anybody listening can come over that morning. I'll have a booth and it'll be set up. I'll be doing interviews. I'll be doing all kinds of things, be giving out swag. So I would love to see a lot of people over there.
Yeah.
And then later that afternoon, I'm speaking. We talked earlier about great reasons for companies to come to it. What if there's a plumber that's just, you know, right there in Birmingham that's like, hey, you know what? I've got a little vacation time. I want to take a day off.
Yeah.
Run down there and see what this expo is all about in the morning. What's he going to get out of it?
The expo itself gives an opportunity to kind of go through, see some of the latest technology, the latest equipment, hardware that's going to be there. We have a number of our vendors that are leading manufacturers. I mean, the list goes on. I could say Milwaukee Tools, Incinerator. I mean, you name it, they're going to be there at this event. So it's an opportunity for you to go and see that. There's also going to be a number of booths that are going to be available that have an interest to you, whether it's a new program for keeping track of employees' time, business finance, opportunities to kind of talk. If you're getting near the end, you want to sell your business, you need financing, or you want to talk to someone that's in that realm. there's going to be somebody there. There's a number of different booths that give you all the different options that you can talk to folks that are going to impact your business.
Love that.
Yeah.
And the neat thing is I'm giving away 30-day free trial to Go High Level.
I'm looking forward to that too.
I love that product. It's amazing. But you know, that's neat. So I get to give back to people. And the cool thing about it is walking into these expos, I have built relationships with Milwaukee, with Rigid, with Kohler, with Toto, with Instinct Curator. I love with Zoller, with Grundfos, with so many different people.
And they will all be a Connect.
Yeah.
That's the great part.
Isn't that neat?
Yeah.
And I love it because to me, this is like a family reunion.
Yeah.
And it's not just the vendors, but it's the plumbers. There are so many of us on social media that we go to all these events, and it's just really a cool deal because it's like, dude, what you been up to? What's going on? And
well, you get to meet your regional sales rep too. And, you know, that's the person that you get to talk to. Now you develop a relationship with them, and, you know, you get their card, you talk to them, and you're a contractor saying, God, I need some new equipment. I'm going to call the guy I met at Connect. And you know what? Here's the kicker. There's an opportunity there. There'll probably be a discount if you order something at Connect through them, through the supply house. That's going to probably be there. And that's another opportunity. And that's the one thing special about Connect is there is opportunity, and then you get to make the connections as well. And that's what makes it, to me, a fun, lively event. And Birmingham, I will tell you, I had fun in Birmingham. They got some amazing, so if you're celebrating your birthday, there's some Michelin star restaurants there that will blow your mind. I'm like, am I in Birmingham or New York City?
The night before I speak, so I'm gonna go out and celebrate my birthday. I'm not gonna drink.
I got some recommendations for you.
Man, I'm here for
away.
a great dinner. Yes.
Yeah, you know, and you know what's unique too? I found that, you know, in Birmingham. So I talked to a couple of the restaurant chefs that are there, and one of them was telling me, he's like, "Yeah, I got trained in New York City. What are you doing in Birmingham?" He goes, I'm going to open up a restaurant here for a fraction of the cost.
Absolutely.
And guess what? I'm going to thrive.
Yeah. I'm going to do really, really good.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's a beautiful, fun, there's great bars, lively music, but beyond that, it's the connections.
It's the people.
Yeah. The people all sharing the same things you're going through as a contractor.
And my favorite thing about it is you get there early. Of course, I'm coming in a day early just to network. Yeah. And then you go down the hotel lobbies, you go down the hotel bars, and there's plumbers, there's HVAC techs, there's vendors, there's everybody down there. Yeah. And it's really a great thing to do. Yeah. So if you want to celebrate my birthday with me this year, I'll be in Birmingham,
October 9th.
Alabama. Now, my birthday is the 8th. So,
all right, we'll come
the
to
day
both.
Before, I'm there,
if you come to the whole conference, you'll be able to celebrate the whole thing.
There you go. There you go. Tell me about, and you've been at PHCC almost a couple of years now.
Yeah.
Tell me about your best day there. What's ever happened at PHCC that you're just like, man, this was a great day at work?
The first time, I guess this was probably my first board meeting. It was in person at last year's meeting at Connect in Cleveland. And we just had an opportunity running that board meeting, and their first time experiencing me in my position as executive director. And coming out of that meeting, you know, we had some tough topics, you know, we were really trying to focus on a lot of things. And then walking out of that meeting when it was all done and saying, I hit a home run.
I love that.
Perfect. This is it. I hit that homer. This is what, and then to hear it from my board members who have been there for 40 years and saying, you know, that was one of the most lively board meetings I've been at in years. You really hit it out of the park. I loved the topics. It was engaging. It was fun. It was something you really did what we needed you to do. And that's, to me, was probably one of the best days I had, to hear it from folks. Yeah. And you know, it's funny about that too, is that when I tell people what I do, they're like, so are you a plumber? And I'm like, no, but I work with plumbers.
Absolutely.
So, but you know, pulling it all together, you know, days like that was one of the best days. And the pride you feel, because, you know, you're number one, you love what you do, but you're also validated for what you love what you do. And that's fun too. So
that's good.
Yeah.
So tell me about the worst day.
I will say, you know, this was a bad day, and it wasn't really work related. It was, you know, I was at work, and you get the phone call. My father had passed away. And, was coming to work, a wonderful day, excited, stuff to do, get ready for Connect in Cleveland. And then they get the phone call. My dad had passed. And, and the support of the PHCC members when they heard, was instant.
Yeah.
And that meant a lot. Because my dad actually was, he owned a bar for 45 years, about 40 years in Newark, New Jersey, in a very industrial. He had contractors. He had all these union guys in there. And it was a very Latino Portuguese community of Newark, ironbound section. And when I was telling him what I was doing, he's like, so you're working with plumbers? And I had talked to him, he was in his he was 90. And, I FaceTimed him about the week before, and it was rare that he would do something like that. My sister had connected, so I got to talk to him one last time, not knowing that a week later I was going to come into the office and he'd get a phone call from my brother that he passed. So
that's tough.
Yeah, and that was a tough day. That was probably the hardest day because it was unexpected. And but it's like, because he really didn't know exactly, what I was doing. Personally, I thought I was a plumbing contractor.
Right, exactly. You're a plumber now. Way to go.
So that was probably the toughest day.
Good.
I'll be honest. That was the one day it was tough. So
yeah, those are tough.
Yeah.
Well, I want to say I appreciate it. Thanks for being here. I'm excited. Anybody watching PHCC Connect, Birmingham, Alabama. I'm coming to town October 7th. I think it starts the 8th and that.
Yes.
8th is the pregame pep rally.
Yep.
The party. My birthday party, the celebration. The 9th, Expo's free the first 4 hours.
Yep.
And then if you're a member, amazing training the rest of the day.
Be sure.
Amazing speakers.
Yeah. Be sure if you're going to come to the Expo, register at phccweb.org. Definitely register. Yeah, that'll get you in the door. And like I said, it'll be a great event. I'm looking forward to it.
Register in advance and book your hotel room if you're coming in from out of